Hey everyone, fellow Guardians, I am Brady the Bloody Knight and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to chat about Destiny 2. If you haven't been following the game, Destiny 2 is out in September in 2017, which is September 6th specifically, and recently the beta test happened on PS4 and Xbox One, and it ran from the 18th of July to the 23rd of July, and then was further extended to the 25th of July, so essentially it ran for a full 7 days. And everybody seemed to have, I want to say, mixed reactions about Destiny 2, so I thought I'd just put this video together to kind of put together my opinions of the beta and what I experienced. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So first off, let's talk about Homecoming, which is the first story mission in Destiny 2, and this mission was also playable in the Destiny 2 beta. Essentially, you play as the Guardian, and you arrive at the tower at the time that the Cabal Red Legion is attacking the tower, and the Red Legion is headed up by Dominus Ghaul, which we see, or who we see later in this mission. And I really like this mission because it was quite cool, because you get to see the Vanguard leaders of the Hunter Vanguard, the Warlock Vanguard, and also the Titan Vanguard in the thick of it fighting, and we never really see them doing something like this. So you see Cayde 6, Zavala, and Ikoria kind of really in the action and fighting different enemies and like really taking the fight to them. And what was also cool is that you get to see I would say a balance of different Cabal enemy units on the field as well. You don't go through the same units all the time, over and over. I feel like there was a decent balance, and hopefully there'll be more of a variety in the full game as well. And what you also get is an exotic for each, I want to say, class that you play through. So if you play as a Warlock, you get one exotic. If you play as a Titan, you get a different exotic. And when you play as a Hunter, you also get another exotic. Kind of, I don't want to say it's specific to each class, but you get a different one for each playthrough that you make with each class. And speaking of classes, you also get the new different subclasses. For instance, for the Warlock, you get the Dawnblade, which is very similar to the Sunsinger from the first game, but you kind of get the whole balls of flaming energy at your enemies using a sword. For the Titan, you get the Titan Sentinel, which is void based, very similar to the Titan Defender in that you can use the Ward of Dawn kind of shield, but in addition you can also then throw your shield around, because you have a shield that you can throw like Captain America, and that's basically Destiny's version of Captain America. And then finally for the Hunter, you get the Arc Strider, which is very similar to the Blade Dancer from Vanilla Destiny, but you have this insane staff and you can move and do so many different things, and it's just these classes are really cool. And also what I liked was that there wasn't a lot of survival gameplay, if that makes any sense. Like, Vanilla Destiny had a lot of sections where you would have to kind of stand and defend a location while your ghost either hacks in to a system or looks for more information on something, and then you kind of end up defending this place against waves of different enemies. I mean, that kind of gameplay might still be present in the full game, but for Homecoming it wasn't like that, and it was actually really entertaining to play through that mission. Then moving on to general PvE, I feel like something that should be mentioned is how weapons kind of function this time around. You'll still have 3 weapon slots, but they function a little differently this time. So instead of having your primary, secondary, and your heavy weapon, you will now have a kinetic, energy, and a power weapon. So kinetic weapons are basically your general weapon without any kind of burn attached to it. No solar burn, no arc burn, no void burn. It's just plain simple damage. This seems to be having the most ammo out of all the weapon types, because this is most likely what you'll be using more than anything else throughout the game. Energy weapons, they're kind of very much like your kinetic weapons. You can still get scout rifles, pulse rifles, auto rifles, and hand cannons, and possibly sidearms as well, but these ones will have a burn attached to it. So your solar burn, arc burn, void burn, these will be attached to your energy weapons. And then finally your heavy weapons, which also have burns attached to them. It's just that now things like shotguns, fusion rifles, and sniper rifles will now fall under the power slot. and I'm not gonna lie, this does take some getting used to. It's very weird having either a shotgun or a sniper rifle in the power weapon slot. I understand why they might go there, because this time around they're a lot more harder hitting than before and kind of just shred right through enemies. But it's so different having them there and not kind of in your secondary slot. But I suppose it makes sense because they are very high damage dealing weapons. Then next I want to talk about the strike, which was available in the Destiny 2 beta, which was called the Inverted Spire. And I want to say that it is a very Vex themed strike, if that makes any sense, in that there were tons of Vex that you fight, but also the end of strike boss was also Vex based, and also the architecture you find around the strike location, which pretty much was awesome. It was like a mini, I want to say a mini Vaulted Glass run, but it just felt that way for me. Also, Protheon, who is the end of strike boss for the Inverted Spire, reminds me very much of Atheon, who is the final raid boss for the Vaulted Glass raid in Vanilla Destiny, and that was kind of cool seeing something similar, or a mini version of Atheon for the strike. And the way they kind of handled the 3-tiered version of the strike, or the fight at the end of the strike, is quite cool, in that you would have to fight your way through with Protheon, and then after each damage phase it comes to a point where the floor collapses and you drop floor by floor until you get right to the bottom, and that's where you take him out completely. And that was kind of cool. It was kind of very much like a vintage video game scenario that you would have to fight through. Then next I want to talk about PvP, and let me just start off by saying that I'm not exactly the biggest or greatest PvP player. I actually might be the worst PvP player in my group of friends, but I really enjoyed the PvP available in the Destiny 2 beta for some reason. I found myself doing, let's say, fairly well and getting above average kill death ratio, which wasn't really important, but I was having a lot of fun with playing Control on Endless Vale. And what I noticed was that there was a lot of focus on using kinetic weapons. Sure, you still get your power weapon, but the thing is that you don't get power weapon ammo very often, because unlike Vanilla Destiny, you aren't able to share the ammo among teammates that stand in close proximity. If one person's there and they grab it, they are the only person that has that power ammo from that spawn point specifically. And I didn't mind, because the primary or the kinetic weapon play that was going for me, I was really enjoying that. And the thing is, time to kill is also something that plays a big factor, because you are a lot harder to kill this time, because you need to take so many more shots to kind of be down by your opponent. Something that people might not like is that supers charge extremely slowly in PvP, so much so that you might not even get a chance to use your super before the end of a match, which can be a little ridiculous. I feel like Bungie will need to fix that for when the full game comes out, but it was a little refreshing not having supers being spammed left, right and center and not knowing from where you're being killed. But still, it's something that does need to be sped up for the full game. Another thing I noticed is that some weapons do a ton more damage than others. For instance, when I started playing, I was using an auto rifle and it was just not doing anything for me. It was just, I was getting killed all the time. I was not getting anyone down unless I was extremely lucky, until I switched to either a pulse rifle or a hand cannon. And the hand cannon that was available, Better Devils, that thing just melted other Guardians with no discrimination whatsoever. It would just like eat through their shields. Pulse rifles, the exact same thing. And eventually I started sticking to those two weapon types in my kinetic slot specifically. I'm not entirely sure if this was something that was already happening in Vanilla Destiny, but there might be a bit of an imbalance between some of the weapon types in Destiny 2. But I imagine this will be fixed before launch, but only time will tell before that happens. Another thing is that capturing in Control specifically will happen a little differently. How the game will start is that both teams will have a point captured for them. For instance, Team 1 will have point A captured and Team 2 will have point C captured, and then everybody will make a run for B, because that's the only uncaptured zone in the map. And it creates this big standoff and this whole big gunfight around B, and it's really cool that you kind of get caught up in that and still kind of survive it afterwards. Another thing that should be mentioned is that Destiny 2's PvP modes will now be a 4 versus 4 affair, and I feel quite okay with this. I feel like less is more when it comes to Destiny 2's player count in PvP, and while I feel like there's going to be less room for frustration, at the same time I feel like things are going to be a lot more manageable on the battlefield. And then there's the farm, which is Destiny 2 social space, because this is where we will be rebuilding and rising up after we've been hit by the Cabal in Destiny 2. And the farm was only open for about an hour on July 23rd, and I had some issues getting into it for pretty much the entirety of the hour, either due to network issues or due to my PS4 just not cooperating with me. And this is why there's no footage of the farm in this video. Sorry about that. But there are some nooks and crannies that you can explore in the farm. From what I saw, it was amazing. It looked great. And there were places for different vendors. The vendors obviously weren't available during the beta, but once the full game launches, they will be there. Like the Cryptarch will be Tyracon, who was available as the Cryptarch for the Iron Temple in Rise of Iron. There's the room for the Postmaster, there's a place for a shipwright, and there's also places where sparrows are being built. And I kind of wish I could show this all to you now, because I'm just talking and it's not going to make any sense. The Destiny 2 beta as a whole, in my personal opinion, I really liked it. Yes, I do feel that there were some issues that could be addressed or will be addressed in the final version of the game, but at the same time, Bungie has already told us that this version of the game is months old. So things like, for instance, the Hunter's Gunslinger super, which is not doing that much damage in PvE right now, that's most likely been fixed already, and that's something we can look forward to being like super powerful when the full game launches. And what I do have to say is that Destiny 2 looks amazing compared to its predecessor. Like probably just slight polishing going on in the game has just made it look that much better, and I really like that. I'm not gonna lie, I do like visuals in the game, and playing Destiny 2, which is one of my favorite games, or Destiny 2 will be one of my favorite games because I enjoy Destiny 1 so much, and seeing it looking better is appealing to me. And the thing is, even if there were issues during the Destiny beta that people have brought to Bungie's attention, they're most likely checking the feedback and, fixing things where they can. So while I feel that there were some issues in the Destiny 2 beta, I also feel that Bungie will iron these little issues out when it comes to release day, which is September 6th, 2017, and July is over. We're almost into August, and that means September is right around the corner, and it is so close right now, and I can't wait to get my hands on Destiny 2. But enough from me. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it informative, please hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to keep up to date with all my uploads, you can hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button. And if you played the Destiny 2 beta, please let me know what you thought of the beta itself in the comment section down below. I'd really love to know what you thought. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.